So looking at these limits, we can see that the x minus 3 divided by x minus 3 here will cancel out. And if we just kind of go along the graph here, we can see that at 3 it's undefined, and it's just a linear function of x plus 5. This one here, as x goes to 3, okay, if we look at it from going from both sides, it is going to positive infinity versus negative infinity. So from the right-hand side, it's going to the positive infinity. From the left-hand side, it's going to negative infinity. So for this one here, we have to remember that this one is not going to be a limit from one side. Okay, so if we look at this function, from one side there is no limit, and from the other side the limit is equal to 0. So as a two-sided limit, this doesn't exist, but as a one-sided limit, we can see that x is tending towards 0. So for this one here, this is an endpoint behavior one. So if we take a look at what's happening as x goes to infinity, it's large function on, or powerful function on bottom compared to on top. So it should tend towards 0. We can see that as x goes to infinity, sure enough, that's tending towards a 0 asymptote. So this one here, we have our weak over even weaker. Now, although it's a weak function, it starts off with 100. So it's looking like it's getting pretty close to 0. But as x grows, it's going to start outgrowing 100. So we have to actually look at some pretty big numbers here to see what's going on. So if we let x be like 1,000, okay, all of a sudden we can start seeing, eventually that x is going to start outgrowing, and it's going to tend towards infinity. And then for this last one here, if we take a look at the local behavior, it's going to, as x goes to infinity, it looks like it's going to 0 because that denominator is actually quite powerful for small values of x. But remember that this exponential function will always outgrow this polynomial because the exponential function has the power of infinity behind it when we do endpoint behavior. Not for local behavior like these ones here, but for endpoint behavior, we can see that it's going to start growing. So as x gets really big, so let's go to 1,000. Okay, we can see that it's already, what happened there? Okay, so the denominator, although at the beginning is quite small, okay, denominator is outgrowing it, as we add, even just to 100, we can see that eventually, although it tends towards 0 at the beginning, it shoots back up because that exponential function takes over. So that has an infinite limit as x goes to infinity.